All right, people. Mountain Man G here, rounding the corner to 4 out of 5. This is going to be our Miso and Mirin braised bottom round with cilantro lime rice. We're going to go ahead and get started here. All right, here we have our bottom round going in our ever familiar pot. We've got some sesame oil and vegetable oil getting nice and hot, ready to sear this bad boy. Grab this bottom round, take our nice large surface there, and put it right in there. Get that fantastic sizzling sound that we so love to hear. We're gonna let that sit on that side for about 5 minutes, then we'll flip it over. Our meat has been searing for about 4 or 5 minutes on this side. We're gonna go ahead and check it, see if it's ready to flip over. Oh yeah, we got a nice sear on that. Flip it over and allow it to go for another, 4 or 5 minutes until it's nice and pretty and ready to be rubbed. So the meat has been searing on its other side now for about 5 minutes. We're going to go ahead and pull this off. We'll set it on the cutting board over here. Look at that nice Maillard. Woo! It slipped away from me. Alright, with that sitting on the cutting board, we're going to go ahead and drop our heat to minimum. Dump off the extra grease here. And as with our ramen, we're going to try and reserve the particulates in the bottom of the pan. Not much because, we didn't have the pork and all of that stuff. Then going into that pan, still hot, we have some slivered ginger, crushed garlic, and large slices of onion. We're going to go ahead and take our miso paste, nice big fat spoonful of it, and just rub it on there. So if you noticed, I did not actually salt this meat before I threw it in the pan. I did no seasoning whatsoever at all on it. Miso paste is inherently salty as can be. You salt your meat before you throw it in the pan to sear, you are going to end up with one salty dish, my friend. Also, if you notice, I do have our meat sitting on its fat cap. That's so I can get a nice even coating of our miso on every piece or every square inch of our meat. That's going to be kind of key here as it sits and roasts in the oven. In the pot with all of that. Fat cap down. That's going to help cook that off and, well, release all of that into the pot. Going into that pot, we have some coconut milk, full can, our mirin. We pulled some out for another recipe. We're going to leave a little bit for another thing coming up here shortly, but we're going to use a good majority of this. Solid cup and a half. Be careful not to wash too much of that off, but we do want to get a little bit of mirin onto our meat. It's going to help create a nice caramelization on the outside. But we do want to get some down the liquid so it steams up and through. Last but not least, we have some beef stock we're going to throw in. It's going to help concentrate flavors, give us an overall decent flavor in the end. So what we should end up with is a nice brown creamy sauce for our meat here. We want it about halfway covered. We're going to go ahead and reserve the rest of that for later because as this cooks, a lot of that fluid is going to cook off and we're going to want to add more. So it ends up concentrating. We have pulled our meat out of the oven. I've started to pull it apart a little bit. You can see just how tender this is. Just falls apart in the tongs. So we're going to go ahead and just shred this down a little bit, let it soak in the sauce. In the meantime, we're going to get started on our rice. In our pan back here, I've got a little bit of butter heating up. You hold this for me. We're going to go ahead and throw in the last of our crushed garlic. The last of our minced ginger. Let that cook together. And the last of our caramelized onions. See, I do plan for everything. I'm gonna go ahead and let that cook together real quick like. Just get a nice little toast on the garlic and onions, and garlic and ginger rather. We're gonna go ahead and dump in a cup of rice. We're gonna let that cook together for just a couple of minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of water. It doesn't really matter the temperature of the water. Typically I just do you know, room temp, body temp, not hot, not cold. So we're going to cover it. We're going to go ahead and get that water in there, bring it to a boil, reduce temp, and let it simmer until about 90% of the water has evaporated, all the while keeping it covered. We're going to kill heat after about 90% of the water is evaporated and let the steam do the rest of the work. We have our rice here that has steamed itself through. We're going to go ahead and fluff it, add about 2 limes worth of juice and our chopped cilantro to finish this up. Our chopped cilantro and our lime juice. Then we're going to go ahead and just fluff it together. Fluff, fluff, fluff it together. We're going to go ahead and leave the lid off of this, allow that to steam out, and let that lime juice and cilantro marry into the rice there. There is our miso and mirin braised beef round with a touch of our kimchi and the cilantro lime rice, all plated up and ready for dinner. And for what I hope is the last time tonight,
It's not.
this has been Mountain Man G preparing, I am not even sure where we're at right now, of 5 parts of part 5 of this fantastic meal we're putting together for my buddy Day over here, who just keeps distracting me.
Well, I know I'm sexy, but you can at least pay attention.
Hey now. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please hit us with a like, and also be sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, depending on where you saw this video. Thank you very much, and have yourselves a wonderful evening.